In the spring of 1984, the telecom giant AT&T shocked the tech world. For decades, they had been the telephone company, untouchable, bureaucratic, and almost mythical in their monopoly power. They were known for wires, switches, and dial tones, not microchips. But suddenly, they announced they were entering the personal computer business. Not just dabbling, they were going to take on IBM. The industry laughed. They had no idea how serious AT&T was. And perhaps, neither did AT&T. At the center of this move was a powerful, if misunderstood, piece of software, UNIX. Developed in the late 1960s and early 1970s by Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie at Bell Labs, UNIX was unlike anything the industry had seen. It was modular. It was scalable. And it was written in C, a programming language also invented at Bell Labs. This made UNIX incredibly portable across hardware platforms, an innovation that set it far apart from IBM's tightly coupled systems. To AT&T's top brass, UNIX was a golden ticket. It had gained traction in academia, was used in internal Bell Systems equipment, and was starting to attract attention in tech circles outside the company. Now that the federal government had forced the 1984 breakup of the Bell system, AT&T was no longer bound by the old consent decree that had prevented it from entering computing markets. The company believed it was uniquely positioned to take UNIX from university labs into mainstream business. But therein lay the first fatal assumption. UNIX was brilliant for developers, researchers, and system admins who didn't mind memorizing dozens, if not hundreds, of commands. But for ordinary office workers? It was borderline alien. No graphical interface. No standard office suite. No clear support model. The command line might have inspired respect, but it didn't inspire mass adoption. Still, AT&T forged ahead. The company had all the makings of a tech superpower. Bell Labs to invent new technologies, Western Electric to manufacture chips and components, and a sprawling physical network of retail outlets and telephone service technicians to deliver and support products. On paper, it looked bulletproof. In 1983, AT&T introduced UNIX System V, its first commercial version of UNIX, designed to be the foundation of a new ecosystem. It wanted to promote System V as the industry standard and license it to third-party vendors, replacing fragmented UNIX variants like BSD, Xenix, and others. But AT&T didn't just want to be a licensing company. It wanted to dominate computing top to bottom, chips, hardware, software, support. This was a massive, multi-front campaign. First, AT&T developed the W32000 processor, a powerful 32-bit chip designed to compete with Intel's 80286 and Motorola's 68000 series. It was used in AT&T's 3B family of minicomputers, which were powerful systems aimed at business and enterprise customers. These minicomputers were no slouch. The 3B2, for instance, could handle multiple concurrent users, perfect for server tasks. Later models like the 3B20S and 3B4000 were intended to compete with Digital Equipment Corporation's DEC, VAX machines. AT&T envisioned a future where UNIX ran on everything from your desktop phone to enterprise servers, and they would build the entire stack. But the hardware alone wasn't enough. AT&T realized it needed partners. So in late 1983, they purchased a 25% stake in Olivetti, the Italian computer manufacturer. The deal, worth $260 million, allowed AT&T to rebrand Olivetti's M24 PC and sell it in the US as the AT&T Model 6300. It was a DOS-compatible system that could interoperate with AT&T's UNIX back-end systems via networking software. Then came Convergent Technologies, an upstart founded by former Intel and Xerox PARC engineers. Convergent had experience building custom systems for third parties. AT&T tapped them to help develop their long-promised UNIX PC for professionals. The result was the AT&T UNIX PC, launched in 1985 as the Model 7300. With its slanted form factor, Motorola 68010 processor, GUI overlay, and UNIX System V core, it was a unique offering. But the execution fell short. The GUI was clunky. The mouse was inaccurate. The applications were limited and sluggish. The system could dial out using a connected phone and record calls, features impressive on paper, but of limited value without productivity tools to match. The spreadsheet bundled with the system, SuperComp 20, was notoriously slow, taking over 10 minutes to process a 3,000-cell document. For comparison, Lotus 123 could handle far larger spreadsheets in mere seconds on IBM hardware. And the word processor was no better. It was based on Wang's Wangwriter terminal software and limited in display and functionality. The graphical shell, while novel, lacked polish and intuition. Menu buttons were placed too close to destructive commands like shutdown. As for software, the situation was grim. At launch, the UNIX PC had fewer than 30 applications. IBM PCs running DOS had over 10,000. And that disparity was widening by the day. Even worse, major vendors like Lotus refused to develop for Unix. Microsoft's Word was only ported in a limited form. DBase was announced but never shipped. And the partnership with Digital Research, once seen as a critical win, quietly collapsed. Internally, things were just as chaotic. The Wii32000 CPU never made it into the UNIX PC due to bureaucratic delays in releasing the chip's documentation. So Convergent defaulted to the Motorola 68010, a fine processor, but a missed opportunity to showcase AT&T's in-house silicon. Regulatory relics also haunted the project. In some cases, AT&T was still barred from bundling computer and phone hardware together, a holdover from its days as a telecom monopoly. This meant the company couldn't even sell the UNIX PC through its own phone stores. By the end of 1985, it was clear that the strategy was failing. AT&T's computer division had posted losses exceeding $750 million over 2 years. Sales of the UNIX PC were estimated between 12,000 and 18,000 units. The Model 6300, a far more conventional DOS machine, sold about 70,000 units. Meanwhile, IBM had sold nearly 1 million PCs in 1984 alone. Apple sold 275,000 Macintoshes. Even Commodore was outselling AT&T's best efforts by a mile. In late 1985, AT&T released the 6300 Plus, a machine capable of running both Unix and DOS applications through dual boot. Technically clever, but the market had already moved on. In 1986, the company's total market share in computing was just 6%. Most of it came from basic DOS-compatible PCs. Things got worse. Convergent Technologies reported AT&T had begun slashing orders for the UNIX PC. In October 1986, AT&T quietly handed over its PC business to Olivetti. The UNIX PC was discontinued. By 1988, AT&T posted its first financial loss in 104 years, over $1.6 billion. The experiment had officially collapsed. What lessons were learned? First, technological superiority means little without usability. Unix was, and still is, a powerful system. But its steep learning curve alienated business users. Even with a GUI, Unix required a mindset shift that most employees weren't ready for. Second, software ecosystems matter. It wasn't just that DOS had more programs, it had the right programs. Businesses used Lotus, WordPerfect, DBase. None of these ran well on Unix. Without killer apps, no hardware platform can thrive. Third, corporate culture can be a silent killer. AT&T had spent generations as a regulated monopoly. It wasn't built for competitive markets. Decision-making was slow. Risk-taking was rare. Innovation was abundant in the labs, but almost allergic in the boardroom. Fourth, arrogance. AT&T launched ads like The Computer Game, showing a smug man bridging MS-DOS to Unix with a plastic toy piece and saying, "Your move." But the real move, winning developers, partners, and users, never came. Ironically, Unix itself succeeded, just not under AT&T. BSD became free BSD. Solaris from Sun became a mainstay in enterprise. Linux, a Unix clone, emerged in 1991 and would eventually dominate servers and Android phones. Even macOS is Unix certified today. In the end, the most enduring legacy of AT&T's computer venture isn't the machines it built, it's the lesson it left. Even the most powerful technology can fail if you misunderstand the market. Even the most brilliant invention can be wasted by bureaucracy. And even a company with a century of dominance can fall flat if it tries to be everything at once. This is the cautionary tale of how AT&T, creator of the transistor, the C language, and Unix, tried to beat IBM, and blew $1 billion instead.